Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and a big warm hello to my subscribers. I love you guys. Today I am bringing you some high-end DIYs, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I used this 1/8 inch plywood utility panel, and I cut it into what's going to be equal to about 2 of those Dollar Tree signs. You might need 3 if you want it a bit bigger. You're going to need a Dollar Tree home sign and some lath, which I cut into, well, you're going to see me cut it into a frame, and some of these rub-off transfers from the Dollar Tree and some stencils of your choice. Now, I started with taking apart this home sign, and I didn't realize it was stapled on there. It's not glued. So I was already committed, and the way I went about getting these staples out, because you can't access them from the underside, was to cut them as flat as I could and then hammer them down, and that made it completely flat, and it worked. So I had struggled with them beforehand, and it ended up kind of damaging it. You can see the marks right there, so don't do that. Just go about cutting it down and then hammering it backwards. It works really, really great. So now I'm just taking some acrylic paint here and painting my utility sign, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the lath. That's spelled L-A-T-H. There was a screenshot earlier in case you missed it. Really great wood for frames, super cheap. You get 8 feet for $1.12, and you'd have to, if you use the Dollar Tree rulers, first of all, you're going to have all those seams, which looks cheap in my opinion, and it's more expensive because you would have to buy, I believe there's 2 rulers to a pack. There used to be 3, but I think they reduced it to 2 now. So in order to get 8 feet, you'd have to buy 4 of those. So that would be $4. So way better to go to Home Depot. I love combining Home Depot and the Dollar Tree together to get the best bargain, because the Dollar Tree isn't always the cheapest route, and that's what I'm after. So that's a great frame there, you guys. You can paint it white and then stain it if you want to make it look like a more expensive wood, because I actually don't like the redwood color, but it works really great. So I painted the HME black and I left the O white, and now I'm just positioning my frame and trying to be really careful about this so I don't make a mistake, because the wood isn't perfectly straight on the top, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to see that. And now I'm using the Dollar Tree rub-off transfers, which I got at the Dollar Tree. I actually found those. I couldn't believe it. It was my first time I found the transfers. I love these. They're so cute, this set. And I'm just taking a credit card, rubbing them off, and I've spoken about this in previous videos. They look just like they're painted on. It's not like vinyl where there's a bump or a ridge that you can feel. But as I was trying to place this one, I wasn't happy with where it was, so I took it off and I lost one of the little leaves. So I'm just going in with a fine tip Sharpie to touch that up so it matches, and that's what we end up with. And now I'm taking a thicker Sharpie, and I'm just going to go around just ever so subtly to give, it's not so much distressing, this is more for definition, because I just felt like the O kind of got lost with the black letters, so I'm just doing it really, really soft. Now, I don't have this film part. I don't know what happened to it, but the goal here is to get the black letters to look like they're old barnwood, what I just showed you. Super simple to do. You're basically putting white paint on a brush and wiping almost all of it off, like you're trying to wipe it off, and then you go about painting, and you just do it back and forth in a vertical manner, and you get this look right here. I'm sorry I lost that footage. I saw the red light on. I think I may have accidentally deleted it off of my actual camera while I was downloading, so sorry about that, but super easy to do. And I didn't want too much black because I didn't want to look too Halloweenish. It's still, this is more like it can be used for modern farmhouse too, and I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit versatile, so that you can use it in the high-end decor, and you can also use it in a modern farmhouse decor as well. And now I'm just using wood glue and hot glue, and I'm going to glue down that frame. So now I'm just adding some of the Dollar General stencils. Someone told me you can also get these at the Dollar Tree, but I'm just adding it to all four corners of this frame. I thought it added a really high-end look and made it look super expensive, and I absolutely think this is so awesome. I love this. You're going to need this wood here, and we're going to cut it. Shout out to my husband there for helping me out. I had pet our cat, and I'll tell you, I usually have to rinse my hands. Even though I'm not totally allergic to him, I can't stroke him and then just rub my eyes, and I totally forgot. So my eyes were tearing and I couldn't see, and I honestly didn't feel safe with the circular saw, so he helped me out on that one. But you guys, power tools are the great equalizer. No matter whether you're 18 or 80, if you, even with arthritis, if you have like a miter saw, anyone can cut wood. It's amazing. They really are fantastic for that reason. But here I am taking wood glue. I've spoken about this many times in videos. Wood glue has the ability to hold raw wood together at a molecular structure so that it becomes one with the wood. Like if you try to pull this apart once it's fully dry and cured, the wood will often break off with the glue because it's that strong. So even though I'm going to put these handles down on either side and hold it together that way, and I'm going to go ahead and you'll see me use a nail gun in a minute, I'm still gluing the planks at the bottom together just for extra stability, I guess, and strength so that this tray holds together. So you can use hot glue at this point if you want. I didn't. I just went with the wet glue because I didn't want it to raise up in any levels. I was a little nervous about that. I wanted it really, really flat, and I wanted time to reposition things if necessary. That's the one good thing about wet glues, you guys. I don't know how many of you have used hot glue before and then glued something down and went, uh-oh, that's not straight, or that's not where I want it, and you have to tear it apart and you actually damage your craft. So there's definitely pluses to waiting it out and letting things dry because you get, you know, some time to move it around. And I obviously cheated a little bit there because I was using the nail gun, which kind of works like a hot glue. It holds it, you know, right away so I could paint. Now I'm just using the paint called Craft Smart. I bought it on a whim from Michael's. It's really impressive. It's a one-coat acrylic paint, a lot cheaper than Waverly chalk paint. It dries super matte, looking like chalk paint. A lot of people don't realize that the Waverly chalk paint is just acrylic paint with the additives in like calcium carbonate and different chemicals so that it doesn't clump. It is not like Rust-Oleum chalk paint. So if you find a good acrylic paint, go for it. Now here's a free printable down below in my description box. I broke it up in 3 different strips for those of you that want to create the tray, and then I'm going to upload the one that is just all together in case somebody just wants to make a sign, a cute little, this would make a great little sign with a frame around it. But I found it too difficult to get each word big enough for the planks. You had to make them different sizes on my printer, and I'm guessing you guys are going to run into the same problems, so I'm going to upload those separately for you just in case. So I tried the pencil trick, you guys, and it just didn't come out dark enough, so I resorted to my carbon paper, and that worked out great. The top one I did trace over a little bit with the pencil afterwards just to make it darker, but it was going to be way too hard to do the whole thing with pencil, and I'm just tracing these words down on the board, and then I'm going to use a combination of a fine tipped Sharpie, a thick tipped Sharpie, and black paint to fill these in. love this. For this next DIY, you're going to need 2 of these buckets from the Dollar Tree, and I took them outside and I spray painted them with this paint and primer mix. I'm also showing you how windy it is, you guys. I usually don't take you out to show you the spray painting part because I have to do it inside of a box because it literally flies all over me. I got it on my lens once and I just, I'll do it whenever I can, but I tell you, the wind is intense lately. So I'm just cutting off the furry bits on the twine there. They were really obvious once it was painted. And now this is a nice little trick I like to do with the stencils. I like to take masking tape and just cover any nearby stencil holes off so that I don't accidentally paint, through the other holes, because sometimes no matter how careful I am, even if I'm using a small little blotting tool for stencils, I still go outside of my lines. So that's it right there. It looks super good. Now I take a baby wipe and kind of wipe this off, and really I recommend, if you do this DIY, that you go into the bathroom and rinse it off completely and dry it and come back with a brand new stencil. The paint comes off really easy, off like brand new looking again, even with black. So I should have done that because I did have a little black paint afterwards with the second one, and it was no big deal. You'll see me here take another baby wipe and wipe it off, and it comes right off. See that one right there on the side? I'm showing you, I'm rubbing it and it comes right off, and you have to rub really soft, because I didn't want to take any of the paint off by accident. Even though I let it dry for about 3 hours, I'm always a little wary unless something has had about 24 hours to fully cure. And now I'm just using the latex paint here by Behr. I got it at Home Depot. It's in the color Midnight. I love that paint. You can see what it's done to the twine, or what it's starting to do. I touch it up in all those little areas where there's still twine peeking. And I'm just taking my paint pen right now and adding a little bit of black at the bottom just to tie this in, and I definitely choose to use the paint pen to do the edges because I was really nervous, since they're 2 opposite colors, that if I made a mistake, you get that smooth look when you spray paint. That's the thing with high-end DIYs, you guys. They don't have that rustic distress look so much. So if you make a boo-boo, you gotta kind of start all over. It just messes up the whole look. So different approaches for different DIYs, but I love the way this DIY came out. I love black and white with the fresh, vibrant green. It looks so expensive and clean and crisp when it's done, so it was worth the extra time. I left the floral part in here because a bunch of you asked me to. You wanted to watch how I do that, but I love this DIY. It's so expensive looking. For this next DIY, I used a Dollar Tree wreath and some of this Hobby Lobby lamb's ear garland, which is currently on sale, great deal. And I'm going to use one of these little signs from a Dollar Tree fall sign that I got. And this frame, which I found at a thrift store, but I often talk about a video I made on how to make a fake farmhouse sign. And I want to do a shout out now to Cora on Instagram, who made an Instagram story and tagged me in it, and it was awesome. She took this one step further. If you're out there, Cora, you rock. That was so inspirational. So if you guys don't have a frame like this and you can't find one at a thrift store, I often see things like this at the thrift store really cheap, under $3, but make it. Be creative, have fun. So after I remove the hardware, I do have to fill in the front hole, just so you know there's not a big hole there, because I'm using it for a frame. It looks like it was like a cabinet door. And I'm using the Kilz, K-I-L-Z primer again. That's why I'm wearing an apron, because you get that on your clothing and it's totally unforgiving. It's a water-based primer. I have no idea how I ended up with the Starbucks, but I have Starbucks aprons in my home. I think my kids had a friend that worked there or something. I ended up with 2 of them. But anyway, do wear an apron. And I'm just using the little inner ring there. I don't want that huge thing. And I ended up having my husband finish cutting those. That was just too hard. I need some stronger metal cutters. That hurt my hand. So don't attempt that unless you have really strong hands or really strong cutters, one of the two. If you do decide to take advantage of the Hobby Lobby lamb's ear, and I suggest you do, it's dirt cheap, it's 6 feet, and it's like the best quality lamb's ear. I mean, it's not cheap. It's not like some Amazon stuff is really pathetic. This is awesome stuff. It does have those little plastic circles because it's meant to be a garland and kind of, you know, held up everywhere. So you do have to clip those out because it will definitely look fake. And I'm just taking some of the Dollar Tree black wire and wiring it onto this wreath frame. I don't like to use hot glue. You can, but it removes the fur off lamb's ear and it kind of ruins it if you want to repurpose the florals. As you guys can probably guess, my home decor changes a lot, so I try to preserve stuff. And I'm just going to take that sign I showed you earlier in the clip now, give it a coat of white paint to get it ready for the stencil. So I was having trouble deciding between these 2 ribbons. I didn't know whether I should go with the red or the burlap. I ended up going with the burlap, but I would love to hear from you down below in the comments and give me your opinion which one you think would look better. I'm still not totally convinced. And also, during the final reveal, I show you this with the blessed sign and then without the blessed sign. And again, I would love to hear your opinion, but I absolutely love how this came out. Please don't forget to like this video, share this video, comment. It really does help my channel. Thank you so much, you guys. And until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.